You know them? Hell, maybe you are them. That friend who walks into the theater after the previews, breathless and apologizing. The coworker who slides into the conference room 5 minutes late, mouthing sorry while everyone stares. We've been taught to see these people as careless, disrespectful even. But what if I told you that chronic lateness has almost nothing to do with not caring and everything to do with what's happening inside someone's head? The brain's beautiful lie. Here's where it gets interesting. There's this thing called the planning fallacy, and it's basically your brain lying to you about time. Psychologists figured out that we're all guilty of this to some degree. We think tasks will take less time than they actually do. Over and over again. But for people who are always late, this lie becomes their reality. Picture this: someone's getting ready in the morning, and in their mind, they see themselves gliding through the routine. Keys appear in their hand. Traffic lights turn green just as they approach. The universe bends in their favor. They genuinely believe they can shower, dress, eat breakfast, and cross the city in 20 minutes. Not because they're stupid, but because their brain keeps serving them this optimized fantasy version of reality where nothing goes wrong. And the wild part: even after being late 100 times with the same plan, they still believe it'll work this time. That's optimism bias doing its thing, refusing to let experience teach them what their brain doesn't want to learn. When time becomes invisible, but for some people, it goes deeper than optimism. Imagine trying to navigate without being able to read street signs. That's what time feels like to someone with time blindness. Condition especially common in people with ADHD. 5 minutes feels like 20. 20 minutes vanishes like 5. Time doesn't just pass differently for them, it's genuinely invisible. This isn't someone choosing to ignore the clock. This is someone whose brain processes time in a fundamentally different way, like trying to hear a frequency that's just beyond your range. And then there's the memory piece. Most of us can hold a future appointment in our mind while doing something else. Leave at 3 p.m., we tell ourselves at 2:30, and that reminder stays there, ticking in the background. But for people with ADHD, that system breaks down. It's called time-based prospective memory. And when it's not working, even the simplest thing, like walking out the door at the right moment, becomes impossibly hard. Add an executive dysfunction, the struggle to plan, organize, start tasks. Suddenly you've got someone who knows they need to leave in 30 minutes. But KO1 translate that knowledge into action. They get stuck, distracted, lost in the space between knowing and doing. The paradox of anxious lateness. Now here's something that seems completely backwards. Some people are late because they're terrified of being on time. Think about it. If you have social anxiety, showing up early means sitting there while others trickle in, making small talk, feeling exposed. Every minute before the meeting starts is agony. But if you show up late, you minimize that painful social exposure. You slip in, the focus isn't on you for long, and you've protected yourself from the thing you dread most. The lateness becomes armor, a coping mechanism. Even though it creates its own stress, the rushing, the guilt, the apologies, it still feels safer than the alternative. And sometimes, lateness is your unconscious mind staging a quiet rebellion. You agreed to go to that dinner party, that meeting, that obligation you never really wanted, but your deeper self knows the truth. So it sabotages your arrival time. It's your intuition saying, through action, I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be. The perfectionist's prison. Here's where it gets even stranger. Some of the people who are always late are actually perfectionists. They can't leave until everything is exactly right. The email needs one more read-through. The outfit isn't quite perfect. The house must be spotless before they go. It's all or nothing thinking. If they can't do it perfectly, they can't do it at all. Which leads to procrastination, which leads to lateness. For others, lateness is about control. If you grew up in an environment where every minute was dictated to you, where your time was never your own, being late becomes a form of rebellion. It's passive-aggressive, sure, but it's also deeply psychological. It says, you can't control me anymore. My time is mine. And this is fascinating, Some people learn that lateness gives them power. They make an entrance, everyone turns. For just a moment, they're the center of attention, and if you've spent most of your life feeling invisible, that can become intoxicating. The drama of lateness makes them feel significant in a way they don't feel anywhere else. The weight of other people's time, but here's the uncomfortable truth. Whatever the reason, chronic lateness hurts people. It damages relationships. It erodes trust. When you're consistently late, you're sending a message whether you mean to or not that your time matters more than theirs. And people feel that they internalize it. Over time, it creates distance, resentment, and eventually, isolation. So what do you do if this is you? Start with curiosity, not shame. Ask yourself, what emotion am I avoiding? What does my lateness protect me from? What purpose does it serve? If it's ADHD or time blindness, build in buffer time. Use multiple alarms. Try visual timers. Double your time estimates. You think something takes 10 minutes. Plan for 20. If it's anxiety, consider therapy. Address the discomfort underneath instead of just managing the symptom. If it's perfectionism, practice radical good enough. Learn that showing up matters more than showing up perfect. Keep a journal. Notice when you're late and what you're feeling. Patterns will emerge. Your lateness is trying to tell you something, you just have to listen. The real story, because here's the thing, chronic lateness is almost never about time. It's about your relationship with time. It's about fear, control, brain wiring, and unmet needs. Understanding this doesn't excuse the behavior, but it does explain it. And more importantly, it offers a way forward. For those of you who love someone who's always late, this knowledge might help you find compassion while still holding boundaries. And for those of you who are that person, recognizing these patterns is the first step toward breaking them. Change is possible. But it requires honesty with yourself and a genuine commitment to showing up not just physically, but emotionally for the people in your life. Because at the end of the day, punctuality isn't really about managing minutes. It's about honoring relationships. It's about showing up for the life you say you want to live. And that's worth being on time for.